Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 30 Christmas Dollar Tree DIYs for you from the Crafty Vault. I have a little bit of everything in today's video, classic coastal ornaments and a tier tray. I hope you enjoy today's video. For the first one, we're going to use 2 of the clear ornaments from the Dollar Tree. As you can see, these are not the small ones. These are the larger ones, and I got 2 clear ones. I'm going to frost them with the Rust-Oleum frosted glass. It comes in a spray like this, and it's so easy to use. It's just like spray paint. So I want to be able to do the top and the bottom. It's kind of easier to stand them on the top of it there where it has a little bit of a neck. So I'm just going to go ahead and spray that in first. And it doesn't take very much of this. You're just going to want to try to get an even coat on it. I wanted the glass to be frosted so it looks frosty, kind of like a snowman, which is what we're going to be making out of this one. So I'm not going to do like a 3-part snowman. I'm only going to do 2 to make it a little bit stable, more stable, and allow it to stand up. So I just go ahead and spray them all over with that. I love using it. When it goes on, as you can see, it starts to frost a little bit, but as it dries, it frosts really well. See the difference? That's why I wanted to go ahead and include the drying time with you so you can kind of see what happens with it. So when you're spraying it on there, you might not think you have very much on there, but once it dries, it's going to be frosted and cool looking just like this. And the heat gun, no problems at all using that. I did notice this one had a little bit area that needed a little bit more, so you can just add to that. And this is going to be the head and the body of our snowman that we're going to DIY. I really like the clear ornaments from the Dollar Tree. They have so many possibilities, and this is one I hadn't considered before, but I really love it. Now I'm going to be using my Posca paint pens. I love these things. I usually get them on Amazon, sometimes at Target. I think Michael's even has them as well. They just work so good. I have them, I think, in every color now. I do have them linked in my Amazon shop too, because I love them so much. And I just do 2, circles for the eyes, 5 little dots of kohl for the mouth. So super easy. And then I'm going to switch to my orange paint pen and we're going to do the little carrot nose. So I just kind of sketch that out, kind of going off to the side, and then go fill it in with like little curved lines, almost like C's, to kind of make it look like a textured carrot. And I think that looks really cute. A snowman face is so easy to do. Now for the body of the snowman, I thought it'd be cute to do buttons. And so Dollar Tree does have these little jars of buttons. I just picked out 3 small black ones that I think are going to be the perfect size for this. Now I want to cover up the top of that ornament. So I'm going to have that be in a snowman boot. He's going to be wearing some snow boots. So I kind of want it a little bit off center there. And I just glue those going straight down where that is going to be one of the legs of the little snowman, if that makes sense. This is what I'm talking about. These are the little booty ornaments they have every year at Dollar Tree. I love these. I've made a Christmas tree gnome with these before. And it stands up on its own. So it gave me this great idea to try to make a snowman as well. It's got like the little pom-poms. It has a cute little red and white snowflake pattern. And this is what I was talking about. I thought I can hide the top of this ornament underneath the booty. So I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue that on. Now, one thing I didn't consider when I was first attaching these is that I should weigh them down because I want it to be bottom heavy. I do go back and remove these and add some pebbles to it. So I would definitely encourage weighing it down because you're going to want it to be, heavier at the bottom so it doesn't tip over. I don't know what I was thinking with this, but I just went ahead and hot glued on the second one. I don't want them to be like straight flat. I kind of want them to be off to the sides like this. So it kind of looks like the snowman's trying to learn how to walk in snow boots. I thought that would be a cute look. And so they're kind of going off to the sides a little bit. Next up, I need some snowman arms. So I went out to the yard and tried to find some twigs. And I'm just going to make them work. I want it to be rather small. And I want them to both have like little branching hands. And so I think this is going to work. They are a little bit different diameter, which did make it a little bit difficult when attaching them because that one is a little bit thicker than the other one, but I do want them to be about the same length and I do want them to be different. Now, I've seen people do this before. I tried this with both of my hot glue guns, melting a hole in there because I needed a hole to be able to put my sticks in. I don't know why. Neither one of my hot glue guns ever work with that. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the hot glue guns I have. So I switched to the drill. I picked out a smaller drill bit for the one that was skinnier and then a larger one for the other side because that twig was a little bit bigger. And I was able to drill holes in there without any damage, because I thought it would be way more stable for the arms to be in the ornament a little bit so they won't fall off. I add a little hot glue to the hole that I drilled and just put one of the twigs right in there sticking out of the side. Snowman arms are so easy because usually they are just sticks, so this is perfect. And then I also want to add a little snow around the area so you won't see like where I drilled a hole in there. I'm going to use like some Epsom salt to make little like snowy areas around the snowman. I was inspired to make this DIY off of a snowman that I saw. Trying to remember, I can't remember who the creator was. She made hers like upside down. If I can find that, I'll include a link to that in the description of this video. But I want my snowman to be right side up. And so she had added like some snow to hers. I thought I could get like that snowy look like this just by using some school glue and some Epsom salt. So I just put little snow piles around the arms. And then I thought it would also be cute to do like snow around the top of the boot, just kind of covering any seams. It's going to give it that frosty look to go with the frosted ornament. And so I just put school glue down and just put some Epsom salt. And Dollar Tree has Epsom salt. I picked that that up at Dollar Tree as well. I just made sure to get like the regular kind. So I didn't want it to be like dyed any colors or anything like that. I don't know if they changed the colors up on those. Now for the snowman hat, I'm going to create it with one of these little paper mache boxes that I got at the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. And I think it's a perfect size for a snowman hat. It's going to need a brim though. So I'm going to use some black cardstock from Dollar Tree. And I just tried to find something that was a little bit wider and a circle to sketch that out. I just used a pot. And then I can go ahead and cut this out. I always have like such a difficult time cutting perfect circles. So anytime I can have like a guide like this, it's going to help me out. It's still not going to be perfect, but it's going to be sort of round. And this is going to be the brim of the hat. And then this is going to be the top part of the hat. So I'm going to need to paint it to match. So I just use some black acrylic paint. This is actually the Dollar Tree, I think, chalkboard paint, but it is a great for any black. As you can see, it's super dark, just like the ink color that way you get, and it's super inexpensive. I always had a little bit too much paint on there, so I'm going to try to use that for the cap of it as well. I need to go around the sides. I am going to include like a little ribbon to go around his hat to dress him up a little bit. And so I'm just going to go ahead and start with the lid part. This is what I'm going to use to go around the brim of the hat, the red and white gingham ribbon from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to cut out a piece large enough. I think that's going to go really cute with his little boots that we added. And I just attached that with a little bit of hot glue. It's just about the perfect width to cover this part of it, the hat. And I was having trouble figuring out something from the Dollar Tree that I can make a hat with, and I think this turned out really cute. So that's going to be the brim, so I can just go ahead and attach the lid to that. The little round box is going to be upside down on top of the snowman's head. So that looks pretty good. I just went ahead and put it together. I did add a little hot glue on that so that it will all stay together. And we have our little snowman hat. Isn't that super cute? Now I thought I would put the top of the ornament into the hat so that will hide that part of that ornament as well. So I just kind of sketch out where that would be here on the brim of the hat. And I'm going to cut an opening for that. Now, one thing that I did is I went back and made this hole larger because I don't want it to sit on the very tippy top of his head. I want it to look like the snowman is kind of wearing the hat a little bit. So you might want to cut this part larger than you need. I just used a razor blade and kind of poked a hole in that And I went ahead and added a little hot glue there and added the ornament to the snowman hat. And that's what it looks like at that point. I didn't like it very much, so I went ahead and pulled it off. That's why it's kind of ripped a little bit. And I'm going to cut the hole wider so that it sits down on his head just a little bit. Now, since that box is made out of paper mache, it is pretty easy to cut. It's just like cutting like cardboard. So I'm just going to cut it out a little bit larger than needed. You still won't be able to see any of those ripped parts because they'll be kind of hidden away in the seam there. And I think maybe just a little bit wider. I'm just using my heavy duty scissors to help me cut a circle. And I guess if you wanted, you could cut it even larger to represent like an actual hat that sits on there, but I think this is going to be big enough. I just put some hot glue around the ring again and sit my ornament in there. And it's still kind of on the top of his head, but I was happy with it. I think we can make this work. Just making sure that's glued on. And since I've added the little snowy areas around the snowman arms and his boots, I thought I would also add some here, a little bit of snow on the top of his head. I think Epsom salt just makes the perfect snow. It dries, it looks kind of like slushy snow. I really love the appearance of it. It's one of my favorite faux snows. I use it a lot in winter crafting. So here is his body. That's when I realized that I should have weighted down his booties. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull those off, and just using some Dollar Tree stones, you can use whatever you have. Definitely weigh down the booties before you put them on because it's just going to make him stand up so much better. I usually remember this step. I don't know why I forgot. I think I was just really excited to get going on this little guy. So I added stones to each one and then just reattaching the booty right where I had it before with some hot glue. And I had put some snow around that, the Epsom salt, and it still looks pretty good, but here on the front where it's super visible, I thought I would add a little bit more just to make sure you don't see a seam there. And I love the idea of the snowman wearing the little winter boots. Whenever I can craft with those ornaments from the Dollar Tree, I always try to. I think they're so cute for winter crafting. So now it's time to put our snowman together. I'm not going to use anything like physically to attach them. Since it's pretty lightweight, it's just a Christmas ornament. With the hat on it, I just use some hot glue and I glue the two plastic ornaments together. But I wanted to do all the hard part first before I go ahead and attach them together. That is kind of a final step. Now I do want a scarf to go around the neck of the snowman, and it's going to kind of cover up that seam a little bit. And I'm actually going to use these red washcloths that I get at Dollar Tree. I always try to go every aisle in Dollar Tree and find whatever craft materials I can use. And the washcloths and the towels actually makes really great crafting material. So I just cut one of the little sections like that. It's not quite long enough though, so I'm going to have to cut another one and make our scarf a little bit longer. I liked the color of this red. I think it matches well with the booties. And it's kind of like a material that you would see a scarf made out of. So now that I have two strips, I'm just going to attach them together with some hot glue to make one longer scarf. And this is going to I'm just going to tie this around his neck and give our little snowman a scarf. Super cute. He's got the carrot nose. He's got the snowman hat, buttons. He's got the cold face. I love him. The only thing really unique is the little snow boots, which I think is so fun. So I just tie that around his neck like that, where one end goes down the front and one in the back. And then I'm just going to trim them up a little bit to make it exactly the length that I want it. Now it's time to decorate his hat a little bit. I think it looks a little bit plain, so I'm going to add some Dollar Tree greenery. This one's a little too big. I love this though. It kind of looks like a snowy evergreen. So I just cut one little piece down into two. I can have it go like to each side like that. And that's going to look really cute on his hat. So I'm just going to attach that with a little bit of hot glue. I just wanted like a little bit of Christmas greenery, some red berries I think would look really cute on there too, since he has all the red accents. So this is just a bundle I got of pine cones and red berries. I love using that because it comes with all different kinds of different things that you can use to decorate winter DIYs like this and for Christmas. So I just cut out 2 of the berries. The only thing I don't like about any of the berries like that from the Dollar Tree is I find that they're often scuffed or they stick together and you see the white through it. But it's no big deal. You can always just use a paint pen and kind of go over it to cover up any of the red spots, but they look really cute for Christmas crafting. Now, I thought it would also be cute to add some snow to his hat. So I do a little bit of school glue here just on one side and then have it dripping down the top of his hat to look like he's got a little bit of snow here too to go with the snowy look. So I just add Epsom salt there. And he is really coming together. I think he's so cute. I cannot wait to display him for Christmas. Isn't he so cute? I really love how the little snowman hat turned out. The little snowy touches, the frosted ornaments, and the little Epsom salt like snow in the little areas, I think really makes them look frosty and cool. And you can kind of see how the booties kind of go off to the side, kind of making them look a little bit clumsy on the snow boots, but I think he's super cute. So if you have a couple of Christmas ornaments, you can totally try to DIY a snowman. Hey guys, if you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. We're almost to 50K, and I would really appreciate it if you would hype this video. Okay, and next DIY, I told you we were going to do another version of the macrame tree, so let me take you through the steps on that. We're going to use a Dollar Tree wood block, a smaller one this time, and some more of the bamboo pieces. Again, you could totally do this with the Dollar Tree wood dowels if that's all that you have. And I want to make a cool Christmas tree version where we do all the different rows of the Christmas tree, working our way up with the macrame like we did on the bottom of the macrame Christmas tree we did before. So I'm going to start out just by unwinding the Dollar Tree rope again into thirds and cutting out little loops just like we did before. And then I can just loop them and tie them. I'm doing about 6 inches. And so I'm just going to go ahead and cut as many of these as I can to go ahead and get started. And this is going to be the very bottom of my Christmas tree. So this is definitely going to be the whitest part. And I'm just going to go through. You just have to make sure you put your loop on the same side when you have the little pieces go through. That way all of your knots look exactly the same. And I think that is plenty to fill the first row. So we did a total of 6. We're going to go ahead and cut the next row down like 1 knot smaller, and then just keep cutting these out. Again, these are going to be 6 inches as well. We're just going to have 1 less of them as we work our way up our Christmas tree, just reducing 1 of the loops each time. And again, super fun to make. And so this is just another version. You might like this one a little bit better than the first one, but I think they're both beautiful and unique. So we did a total of 5 on this one, making those nice and tight. And then I'm going to cut the next one just 1 knot shorter. And that's exactly how I aligned it all up. And I'm going to keep doing that until I go all the way to the top of the Christmas tree, where I will only need 1. So this row needs a total of 4. And I was kind of keeping track with that too, just with my ruler, because I kind of cut them per row. So this one's only going to need 3. And again, you could totally do this with a macrame cord from the Dollar Tree. It's going to be a little bit thinner than this if you wanted a thinner version of the macrame. We're definitely getting shorter up here. This one's only going to need 2. And then the next one's only going to need 1. Now, we're not going to leave them just like ropes like that. We're going to comb them out like we did before with the very bottom of our little macrame Christmas tree. And for that, I am just using a hair comb and just brushing those. It makes all of the rope come untied. And then you do have to kind of trim them as you go to clean it up a little bit, because some of the pieces will look a little bit longer than the others, no matter how straight you get it on there. So just kind of combing those out. They kind of form like 1 layer of string. And they give you that cool, like, fringe look that you want with macrame. Now, once I get all of these combed out, then we can put these all together. I thought we could build them very similar to the one we did the first time. It's just going to need a trunk to kind of hold everything together in the middle of the tree. And then we can use the Dollar Tree wood block for the little sturdy base. So I got them all trimmed and combed out, and then we're going to use this burlap piece to put them all together. I'm just making sure that I have them all going the same direction, and I'm just going to start with hot glue, gluing this one to the very tip. That's the top of the Christmas tree. And I'm going to want to overlap them ever so slightly. So I kind of pick up this row and kind of glue or nest that one underneath of it, where that kind of covers the top part of the knots on the next row. And then we're just going to continue that all the way down with a dot of hot glue each time. Super easy. You just have to kind of find the center of your piece as you're putting it on there, and don't forget to kind of nest it out. If you wanted to start from the bottom, the nesting part of going one over the top would probably work a little bit better, but I did want to start at the top, so I would have it at the very end. Just going to kind of recomb that out, straighten it up, make it look a little bit cleaner now that I've been working with it. And I'm also going to attach a little bit more hot glue here on the sides of the back just to make it a little bit sturdier. I am now going to cut this little bamboo stick down a little bit here to make it the right length, and we can stand this up. And again, I'm just using a hammer and a flathead screwdriver to make the perfect little hole here in our box, or we can put that little bamboo stick down inside. It's just kind of a matter of hollowing it out. I found this wood block was probably a little bit more solid wood than the other one. And I just put some hot glue in there and stick our bamboo stick down in there, forming our little Christmas tree. Super fun. Now let's decorate it. I thought we needed a tree topper. Now these are the blue molded starfish that I get on Amazon, but I kind of wanted to be a little bit softer blue than it was. So I just distressed it all over with a little bit of ivory, just distressing it and softening up that blue color, which was a little more of a turquoise color. And then I thought, again, a little seashell on the base would look super cute. So I just use a seashell from my stash and glue that on the wood block, kind of disguising that. But it's definitely strong enough to make this little macrame Christmas tree stand up on its own. And this is how it looks. I think it's so cute with that little macrame pattern with all of the strings involved. You could always add ornaments to yours if you wanted a little bit more decor on there. Seashells would be perfect. But I really kind of wanted to go with just the rope feel on this one. Okay, the next DIY, I'm also going to take another ornament. This is the cardinal one. I picked it up because it has a plain burlap back. So you can just kind of flip it over. You're not going to be able to see the back of the ornament. It kind of gives you just a plain burlap canvas. So I did kind of remove some of the stones and stuff here on the back, and I thought we would kind of paint it to kind of cover that up. But you could kind of leave the cardinal on there if you wanted to. I'm just going to go over it with just some ivory, just to kind of have a blank back on the back of mine, just because I'm extra. And so as you can see, when you paint the burlap, you can just kind of paint over the image that was on there. You're going to have a plain white back. Now I'm going to use that same, I guess it's not white, ivory color and acrylic paint, and I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. And what we're going to add to this little burlap ornament is a sand dollar. So if you don't have any of the sand dollars left over from Shore Living at Dollar Tree or any real ones, you can always just paint a sand dollar on and get kind of the same kind of feel. So I kind of used a smaller brush to do, the center part to try to get a circle shape, which is pretty easy to do when you're working with a circular ornament like this. And they're kind of the flat globes, so they're a little bit easier to work with. And I just kind of keep painting that until I cover the burlap pretty well and cover up most of the holes there in the burlap with paint to kind of give me a bright ivory little sand dollar up against the ornament. And I know it doesn't look like a sand dollar yet, but we'll paint it to make it look like one. I'm going to use a real sand dollar that I found at the beach as reference. So I'll know right where to put the slots. And I have like a brownish goldish paint pen that I think is going to be perfect because I want it to look like the same color as the burlap. So it'll look like open slots. And we're just going to paint those on one by one. They have 5 slots, 4 that are kind of symmetrical like that, and then 1 that's kind of in the middle. So I just kind of use that reference, and it's pretty easy pattern to replicate. And then a sand dollar also has like a little flower shape, and so I'm going to try to recreate that with a beachy blue paint pen right there in the center of my little sand dollar. Just going to add a little bit of color here and a little bit of fun whimsy to my sand dollar design. Super easy to do, and again, I just used one of the pre-made ornaments from the Dollar Tree. We're just making it our own. I'm going to use some twine to make a simple hanger for that. This is some of the thicker twine from Walmart, but it doesn't really matter what you use. I'm just going to burn the fuzzies off and tie a knot there on top. I also kind of wanted to disguise the little metal ornament holder at the top, and so I thought it would look really cute if I kind of covered it in some of the twine. So that's what I'm going to do. It's going to kind of seal that up to make it look really coastal. So just start here in the back. I hot glue it and wrap that around, just kind of masking that. We're also going to add a few more beachy touches to make this extra special. Now I do have to use hot glue here and there to just kind of attach it to it so it will stay in place. And then again, that twine from Walmart's a little rough, so just burning off some of the fuzzies. And then I thought it'd be really cute if I maybe attach like some seashells or something beachy to the top of it as well. And I'm just going to use some of the little bottled seashells from the Dollar Tree. So cute. Maybe just glue a couple of those to the rope up here on top just to give it another little bit of a beachy feel. So I'm just using a variety of shapes and sizes. And I think it always looks better if you kind of have like an odd number. So I'm going to do a total of 3, kind of off-centering it to the left. And that's how it turned out, our little burlap sand dollar ornament. Super cute. You would never know that was a Dollar Tree cardinal ornament to start with. Very beachy and cool. And this is how it looks hanging on a little Christmas tree. My lines aren't perfect around the sand dollar, but I kind of like the kind of abstract hand-painted feel of it. It makes it look handcrafted.
I wanted to see what I could do with one of these Dollar Tree reindeer. Now, most people just paint these, but I thought that might be boring, so I wanted to see how many textures I could bring into this and how we could decorate this. Now, I've had this problem with these before. They do not want to unglue. I don't know if it's this material it's made out of. It's not wood. It's like MDF. And my first antler broke, which I was a little concerned about because this was the only reindeer sign I had, but I really wanted to do this project still, so we're going to make it work. I can just attach it to the top, so I decided to break off the other one the same way and not really worry about this. I cleaned it up a little bit, but that can just be the back of my reindeer, and I can just flip it over and kind of have a blank canvas on the other side. Now, what I was thinking, it would be really cute to have a reindeer that was like covered in burlap for the brown part, you know, for its head. And then do like a different kind of texture for the little antlers. I did have to trim them up a little bit, but I can just attach them to the top of the head like that, and it'll be as good as new. I'm still going to make it a hanging sign. Now, this is the burlap we're going to use. This is the Dollar Tree burlap. It comes in a roll, and I just want to get a piece that I can cover the entire reindeer with. So I'm going to cut out a square of this that's going to cover the ears, the head, everything. And I'm going to show you a little trick for cutting burlap so that it doesn't ravel out. So a lot of you guys have told me that you had a lot of luck with this, and I've tried it a couple times, and it definitely works really well. I'm going to kind of just lay my reindeer on top of the burlap. And I'm going to use a Sharpie just because I didn't know if a pen would really show up on the burlap. And I'm carefully kind of sketching it out, trying not to get like ink on the side of my reindeer sign. Reindeer sign. And then we can cut that out. Now, it's kind of hard to work with because, you know, this Dollar Tree burlap is rolled. And so I was like, how am I going to do this if it keeps rolling up on me? And I'm like, you know what? I have my Cricut Easy Press right here. Let me just give it a quick press real quick, and it's just going to make my life easier. So let me iron this real quick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the edges where we did the Sharpie outline in the reindeer head. And we were just going to paint those areas with Mod Podge. And then give that a quick dry with my heat gun. And then I can cut around there, cut out any kind of shape, and the burlap is not going to fray. And as you can tell by the edges of this, that's not normally the case. It likes to fray a lot. But I don't want it to look real sloppy. I want it to look real clean along the edges. You don't want to use too much, just enough to kind of cover the area where you're going to cut. And so I just used a small paintbrush and just kind of painted that on. And then I went in and gave it a quick dry with my heat gun. And then we can cut it out, and you can see how great this cuts. I'm trying to cut like the whole Sharpie part off. I don't really want any of that black on my burlap, and this worked really well. Another thing that I use a lot and will be using later on is those little burlap bags from the Dollar Tree. Those don't fray, that like synthetic burlap. Those are great for covering items like this too, but I wanted to use real burlap on this one. I needed something that was just as cool as that little Santa, so I'm going to give it a go and try to come up with a reindeer design. I'm just going to leave the MDF brown. I think that's fine. If you wanted the white to show through or something like that, you could paint it white first. And then I'm going to put down a pretty good coat of Mod Podge all over. The fabric is kind of thick, and I don't really want to Mod Podge over the top of the burlap, so you want to do enough that's going to adhere it, and just lay your little cutout right on top of your little reindeer head. Just smoothing that out. It's looking cute. Now, I told you I wanted to cover the antlers with something else. And so I thought I wanted something else brown and something else that would look reindeer-like. And so instead of burlap on these, we're going to switch it up to the Dollar Tree faux leather. And I do have some of the brown. Looks like I've used it before on another project. And I'm just going to roll it over, and I can use an ink pen now and just kind of trace out exactly how big my little antlers are so that I can cut these down to size. Now, this faux leather from the Dollar Tree is real easy to work with. It is a breeze to cut. You can cut any kind of custom shapes like that, and it seems to hold up pretty well. The only problems I've had crafting with this stuff is it does not like to glue to itself, and it does not like to glue to glass. Two things I found out. And so I'm just going to carefully go around that ink line and cut this down to size, trying to get it the perfect size to fit on my antlers with no like sharp edges. So kind of take your time on that part. And even though it's a lot darker than the burlap, I think it's going to be a nice complementary brown color. It's going to look really cute on this reindeer DIY. And we've got some plans to decorate these little antlers as well for Christmas. And I absolutely love how this DIY turned out. And we've almost got this one trimmed down, and now we can attach. Now, you could use a stronger glue than Mod Podge. I'm just going to use Mod Podge and kind of give it a chance to dry. You could also use like Dollar Tree tacky glue if you like. I think I'd probably avoid hot glue though, because I think that faux leather might possibly melt. So I just do a nice thick coat of Mod Podge all over mine, and it seemed to work, but it did take a few minutes to dry. So we're going to do that on both of those. Now, the hanger for the little reindeer was on the antlers. So once I get these on there and get them dry, I can go in and kind of poke that back through. I'm just using a little Cricut weeder just to poke a hole through the front. It doesn't have to be pretty or anything. I'm going to have twine come through there. I'll have a knot tied in the front. It'll kind of hide it anyway. but I want to make sure that that is all glued down. And look how cute the brown leather looks with the burlap. Now, I do need something to kind of reinforce it to make it strong since they don't overlap like they did before. And so I'm going to do that with popsicle stick. So let's flip it over and kind of line it up where I want it. I kind of like it better flat like this than it was before anyway. And then I can do like a little half of a popsicle stick on each one. And the sign is thick. It's not necessarily thick enough for my stapler. So I am just going to use hot glue to hot glue that popsicle stick onto the back. And you won't be able to see it. It'll hide back there. And it seemed to be plenty strong to hold up the little reindeer antlers. He's looking so cute. Definitely needs a nose though. And I'm going to use like just a little Dollar Tree wood puzzle piece as a reference just because I needed a circle. And again, we're going to be using that chair cover that we got from the Dollar Tree. So he'll have a little matching red Rudolph nose to go with that Santa Claus that we made. And I just use that as a template to draw a little circle on there with an ink pen, and I can cut this perfect little circle down to size. Circles are hard. I do not try them unless I have a roadmap. And then I'm going to use Mod Podge to glue that down. It's just a, kind of a nice felt that material is made out of. It crafted really well. I'm going to kind of spread out the Mod Podge with my baby wipe to make sure that kind of glues evenly and doesn't look hardened or anything like that, and help it out with my heat gun. Now, I was trying to think what I can make its eyes with, and I was thinking that the brown leather would be good because it'd be a nice complementary color to the antlers. Now, I'm just drawing on the back with a Sharpie. That first eye was way too big, so I'm going to make two a little smaller, and we're just going to make little closed eyes. Definitely the easiest way to make an eye for an animal like this. Two little C shapes. And I'm just going to cut those down to size with the brown leather. And I'm really glad that I decided to give it eyes because I think it gave it a lot of personality, and it was so easy to make with this faux leather. So just cutting those down, trying to make them uniform and look good. Isn't that so sweet so far? And kind of line those up where I think his little eyes would be. And I'm going to use tacky glue for this one. It's a little too small to try to get Mod Podge in, and tacky glue works great for projects like this. I also picked that up at the Dollar Tree. I get my Mod Podge at the Dollar Tree too because I love the little bottles because I don't have to worry about them drying up. And glue them right in place. Now I'm going to replace the hanger, so I'm just going to use some Dollar Tree twine for that. And I'm just going to feed that in through the back, and again, knot it in the front of the antlers. It's just a matter of getting it through there. If you have trouble kind of feeding it through, you might need to put a little hot glue on the end of your twine to kind of make it a little bit harder, but I was able to feed mine through pretty easily. And then I'm just going to knot it in front, and that twine goes great with the burlap that is on the little reindeer face. So we're going to do the same thing over here on the other side. And I told you we were going to be decorating the antlers because even though he's so cute, I think we can really make him even cuter. So I did have a little bit more trouble feeding this side in, so I just used a Cricut weeder to kind of help me feed it in there. And then I wanted to use a fun decoration, and I thought this little snowflake ornament that I got at Dollar Tree would be perfect. It's like a glittery brown snowflake with like ribbon, greenery, and stuff like that on there. And even though it's got a hole in it, we can kind of disguise that. I think this is going to work great and provide a lot of character to this little guy. So I'm just going to glue that little snowflake here right on top. Just a quick, easy way to decorate him. I thought about a bow, but I kind of like that better. And then I thought it would be really cute to use these little decorative bells from the Dollar Tree. They're all strung together to make it look like the little reindeer has jingle bells wrapped all over his antlers. I've seen people do this with like Christmas lights and stuff, and it like that. It looks so cute. And I didn't have any Christmas lights like that, so I thought jingle bells would be perfect. And I love how this turned out. So these are like the silver and gold jingle bells, and I'm fine with that. and they're strung on silver line. I'm just going to kind of string them around the antler like that to look like it's completely wrapped around. And they do have a little bit of play where you can kind of move them around to kind of get the jingle bell right where you want. I do want one on the top of that snowflake to kind of cover that hole right there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that little jingle bell in place. And we're going to wrap these and glue these around both of the antlers. And I'm so glad I added these. These are so fun and they even jingle. So I'm just going to kind of glue them in place right where I want them. I want them kind of random, some going up, some going down. I definitely want them all on the front of the antlers so that it doesn't make the reindeer kind of stick out from the wall. So then we're going to do the same thing here on the other side. We're just going to string these all around like they're all tangled around his antlers. It's not going to require the full strand, but I use most of it here. And then I'm going to just kind of cut this one down and glue those in place as well. I think he turned out so cute. You guys know my son always loved to see all of my DIYs, and he's not feeling too well. And so we were FaceTiming earlier, so I had to show him the DIYs, and this one was his favorite. You guys know he has good taste. So here is Chase's favorite little Rudolph. Now the bow kind of didn't really have anything really cute in the middle of it. So I'm also going to glue another one of the little jingle bells from that set right there to the center of the little buffalo check bow. But I think that is plenty and it jingles. So if you hang this on a door, I think I might hang mine on the door to the garage. So it'll jingle every time you go in and out. I'm sure my husband will really appreciate it. But look how cute he is. I love him, and I'm so glad I decided to DIY him. Now for the next DIY sign, we're going to use one of the Peace on Earth signs from Dollar Tree. And I just wanted a square sign. I had one that I'd got at Target Dollar Spot on clearance, and it was square. It's got like a nice wood finish, but Dollar Tree has pretty equivalent signs, maybe not quite as thick. But for the Peace on Earth sign from the Dollar Tree, I thought we could do a really fun ombre color with the coastal colors we've been using. So I use my makeup sponge, and I'm just going to do peace with the Caribbean blue color from Target. And I want to do the top half of it in that color. Now for the bottom half, we're going to use that ocean mist color. Oh, wait, no, it was Misty Ocean color from Target. And we're going to do the bottom. Now, when the two colors come together, I just use a makeup sponge to blend it together, and it gives that slight ombre effect. And I think it looks even more beautiful than using just one color, having it fade in from one beachy color to the next. And it's going to make it match a lot of the things we've been crafting today so well. I love how this turned out. It was really easy to make. And if you DIY your own chalk paint like that, you can always save it in a little baggie and it's going to keep it nice and fresh. And I love doing that. I distress it all over with some of my DIY ivory chalk paint, just a light dry brush all over to give it that coastal farmhouse vibe. Now, this sign is kind of perfect because it's got like the wood. I love that, but I didn't really care for the, black signs. It's like one of those reversible Target Dollar Spot signs that has the black chalkboard like on one side. And so I just went over mine with this like cashew color just to kind of blend it in with the wood. But we're just going to simply glue the Dollar Tree Peace on Earth sign right to the front of that sign to give us a beautiful Peace on Earth sign for my coastal Christmas decor. I'm going to use this on my shelf. So I do need to make a stand for mine. It was a hanging sign. And I do that by hot gluing one of the little Five Below giant Jenga blocks to the back. I love crafting with those. And where you can slightly lean the sign back a little bit. So it's not going to be super flat. You kind of want a little bit of opening there on the bottom. And I secure that with more hot glue. And this is how it turned out. Our little Peace on Earth ombre coastal Christmas sign. I think this is so pretty. And it looks great displayed with the other DIYs that we've made today. One of y'all gave me the idea of doing the ombre effect on these, and I absolutely love how it turned out.
Now for the next DIY, we're going to use these little wood slices from the Dollar Tree. I love these things. Every time I see them, I try to stock up on them. Even some of my smaller stores are getting these. So if you can't find them at your store, keep checking. They're probably going to go fast. What I want to do is kind of pick out pieces. I'm trying to like make it kind of random. As you can see, the different pieces all are a little bit different finish and stuff like that of wood. I kind of wanted a random pattern, and I want to put them all together and make a little driftwood Christmas tree ornament. So I'm going to leave one long, and then I'm just going to start trimming them down a little bit shorter each time. Now I'm using my miter scissors that I got on Amazon. I think, yeah, these are available in my Amazon shop below. Mine, I don't know if they're getting dull, but I did struggle a little bit cutting through these. I mean, they are kind of thick, but I had to use a lot of hand muscles to get these to cut. I don't know. Is there a way to sharpen these, I wonder? I'm going to have to look into that. I wonder if I need to replace something on them, but man, they were kind of fighting me a little bit, but I persevered. So as you can see, I'm just cutting every one just a little bit shorter. I'm not really measuring or anything like that. I'm just kind of seeing how it looks. And I just want to keep doing that until I get to the top of the little Christmas tree point. And this turned out so cute. I was trying to think of a way I could do a driftwood tree. And I'm glad I decided to do this way because I think this was probably the easiest method that I could find. And again, anytime I can use these little wood slices from the Dollar Tree, I am totally going to. So I think that looks pretty good. It looks like a Christmas tree shape. And I can even put a small one down here at the bottom for the Christmas tree trunk. Now to put it all together, I'm just taking some Dollar Tree twine and tying it to the very top piece for a Christmas tree, and then we can make that the hanger. So I made it plenty long. I just double knot it there and then form a loop here at the top and tie it at the top, and we've got our little ornament hanger built in. I love using twine rather than hooks whenever I can to hang my ornaments. I think it looks nicer and it's easier, I think, too. And then we're just going to start by hot gluing our different pieces of driftwood together. Now, I wasn't sure how sturdy the hot glue was going to be between all these because, you know, they are round. So I do end up going back and reinforcing this. I'll show you later on in the DIY to make it super strong, and it looks cute too. So again, I'm just going to hot glue them one piece at a time. This is going to be the back, so I'm not too worried about hot glue on this side, but I was trying not to get too much hot glue on the other side. I did get some, but I was able to clean it up with my heat gun to kind of melt it a little bit. The heat gun that I'm using kind of squirts out like a lot of hot glue. I tried some of the smaller tips on it, and I didn't have a lot of luck with them. I kind of switched back to my standard size. Probably more of a fine tip hot glue gun would kind of cure that too much hot glue situation. But this was what I had heated up and ready to use. So I went ahead and used it. And we're just going to assemble it all the way down. And I'm not going to do too much decorating to this tree. I think it's pretty cute on its own. I do a little bit though. So we have it all assembled, and then I wanted to go in and kind of reinforce it a little bit again to make it stronger. And I thought the easiest way to do that would be to add something to the back, and I decided burlap would be a good option for that. So I'm going to use some burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to cut it into like a little triangular piece that's going to be a little bit smaller than my tree, so you won't be able to see it from the front. And then I'm just going to hot glue that to the back. That way it's going to kind of give everything like a little patch back there that's going to keep it together and everything attached. It's going to be indoors, but again, kind of weird gluing those round items together like that. I wasn't totally sure it was going to be strong enough without something on the back. You could use any fabric that you have though for that. And then I did notice I had hot glue on the front, so I just went in and kind of tried to clean mine up the best that I can with my heat gun. Now for the tree topper, I thought a starfish would be cute, so I decided to use one of these little starfish nautical pins from the Shore Living line at Dollar Tree. And I know it's on a clothespin, but we'll try to pop this off. So I start just kind of by breaking the clothespin. They make these pretty well, unfortunately, because I always want them without the clothespins 99% of the time. So I just used my heat and I got it really good and hot because I knew it was going to be glued on strong. And then I was able to pop off my little clothespin without damaging the cute little blue starfish. It's already blue, so I think that's like a perfect coastal color. And it's just a matter of attaching it. I thought it would be best to attach it at the very top. So I'm actually going to attach it on the twine that I'm using as a hanger. So I just glue that to that. It's not actually attached to the tree at all. And I think that's all the decoration it needs. I don't think it really needs any kind of ornaments or anything like that. If you wanted to, you could use maybe some tiny seashells would be cute. But I kind of wanted you to see the wood to give it the appearance of a driftwood Christmas tree. I know that's probably not driftwood, those wood slices, but they kind of look like it, right? A little bit cleaner version. And this is how it turned out, our little faux driftwood Christmas tree. I kind of like the wood cracking when I cut it because it kind of gave the wood a little bit more character. And I think it turned out really sweet. Let's make some street light candles. I picked up these great jars at Dollar Tree in the glass section with like their cups and stuff like that for kitchen. And I thought these would be great street lights. They have the little finial on top. So I think that's going to look like the top of the street light. The glass sections, I picked up 2 different ones. So it would give a little bit of variety. And then for the street post, I'm going to use the Dollar Tree candle holders. They're already black, so I think those are going to work well. I do just need to paint the top of these black to match. I'm just using some matte black spray paint, and I am going to tape off the little plastic seals here. I don't want to get paint on those. You'd be able to see that through the glass, and I'm only going to paint the top of these. And I'm really glad that I decided to paint them black because they coordinate so well now with the street post that is the candle holder. So 1 coat is going to be plenty. They painted so easily. If you don't have any spray paint, you could do this with some black acrylic as well. But I actually did, so I'm going to go ahead and spray those first. Set those aside to dry while we put together the little light posts. I wanted to do something festive for Christmas, and so I love the traditional black light posts, but I thought we could decorate them as well. Now these do have the super attached stickers on the bottom, so I'm just using some of their like glue away, scraping those things off because that's going to get in the way to attach those onto the candlesticks. And I'm glad that I chose 2 different ones. I think that's going to add a little variety. For the candlesticks, I also chose 2 different sizes so I can display them together. Now, to give them that Christmas touch, I'm going to use some of the wired garland from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to start right here at the base. I was worried that these would not be strong enough to hold up the jar, but they're actually pretty strong because they're made out of metal. So I go all the way around. I want some of the black shining through, and all the way to the very top here where we're going to attach the jar. I kind of like just wire it to itself so it stays in place. And we're going to do the same thing here with this other scrap piece of garland that I have on the other candlestick. And then to light them up, we're going to be using some of the LED tea light candles from Dollar Tree. I think a light up votive candle would be a little bit better, but I wasn't able to find any of those at Dollar Tree. So we're going to make it work with the tea lights. I do go ahead and trim the top of these to make sure none of that garland gets in the way when I go to attach the jars. I also wanted to give a little bit of Christmas red, and I didn't really have any ribbon that was small enough, so I'm going to DIY it with some of this Dollar Tree red glitter ribbon. I have trouble finding like really skinny ribbon at Dollar Tree, but you can always cut it. So I just go ahead and cut this one in half. It's small, but it's not quite small enough. So then I'm going to go in and take a half, cut that one in half as well. So I'm quartering it. Gives me this very thin ribbon. Very cute. I think it's going to be cute to tie like a little bow and combine that with the garland for the Christmas touch. So I just tie that around the base here of that candle holder, and we're just going to tie a simple bow Nothing fancy, but I am trying to make sure that the glitter is on the outside and you'll be able to see it with like little ribbons hanging down. Now, if you don't want to wrap your post in garland, you can always use it to form a little wreath and add a bow to it as well. That would be cute too. So we're going to do the same thing here with the second one. And I think they look really cute displayed together as a set, but you could always just do one if you wanted to. Again, I'm just going to tie a simple little bow here, just like I did on the other side. And this does give you a little pop of red and glitter and kind of makes these look more like a Christmas DIY and not just like a light post. To attach the jars, I'm using some Dollar Tree super glue. I love these little individual bottles because you can throw them away. They don't have a whole lot of glue in them. Just make sure you don't get them on yourself. And as you can see, the candle holders are shaped a little bit differently. This one on the right attached a little bit better. I think it has more of a lip here, but I'm just going around and doing super glue all the way around. You could also use E6000 for this. And then add the jar, just making sure that it's centered, pushing that down. And you know what? This dries really quickly, almost as quickly as hot glue. I didn't want to use hot glue for this application though, because I don't think it's going to hold up well on the glass or the metal. So this one, I went ahead and added a bead all the way around. I did have to go back and add some more glue to that one because I don't think I got quite as good a seal. Now, these are just the Dollar Tree LED tea light candles. I'm going to put those inside. That's when I realized this one was not attached yet. So just going to add some more glue. And I added some glue to the jar too, pushing those together, and that seemed to work. The only bad thing about the tea lights is they're kind of small, and so they do kind of slide around in there side to side. You might want to do a couple dots of hot glue. That might help keep them in place if you're going to use the tea light size too. And then these are the jar lids. Since I'm using a battery operated candle, I can light it up and have the lid on it. So I think that's going to work. It's going to make it look like a lamp post. The lids are exactly the same, even though the jars are different. So I was trying to make sure that I had the right one for each one, but we're just going to go ahead and pop those on. And this DIY is complete. It was so easy to make, and I think it looks so cute and festive for Christmas decor. This is what they look like in the daytime. I'm not sure which jar I like better, maybe the one on the left, but I do like the variety. I'm glad that I chose two different ones, and I think they look so cute displayed together. As you can see, the base is nice and wide, and it's plenty strong enough to hold up the jar. And this is what they look like lit up at night. Aren't those so cute? I love it. It's very classic Christmas and something that you could put out every year. So fun. This is how they look like from a distance and with a little bit less lighting. Now for the next DIY, we're going to make, I'm going to do a grouping of 3 little coastal Christmas trees to decorate my shelf for Christmas. For the driftwood, I'm actually using the Target driftwood. This is a vase filler that I get at Target. And the reason I like crafting with this is because it's nice and flat. I always try to stock up on this because I really love it. It's one of my favorite. And I always try to get it on sale as well. I'm using a Dollar Tree foam cone for the Christmas tree. And as you can see, I am hot gluing the driftwood to it, making sure to overlap the bottom a little bit because I don't want you to be able to see any of the foam. And the wood will help it stand up as well. Whenever you're crafting with driftwood, it's a little bit kind of like a puzzle. You're putting the pieces together. You can overlap them. You want them all to be a little bit different. But what I'm going to do is just go all the way around doing a row to make a little driftwood Christmas tree. And this turned out so cute. I've done another version of this where I've done like use the wood stems from the Dollar Tree. And that gives you a totally different vibe as well. Really cute. I think I ended up kind of flocking that too to make it look snowy. And so for the second row, I'm just overlapping the first row a little bit like that. And you know, hot glue and foam doesn't always mix well, but if you work quickly with this, you won't have many problems. I'm going to go in with a third row of driftwood here, and I'm just going to keep building this tree all the way to the top. I don't want any of the foam to be visible. And the foam trees from the Dollar Tree are not super big, so it's going to be kind of a small to medium sized little Christmas tree for my shelf. I'm going straight up to, like, you can see where it's kind of got a blunt end to the cone with the driftwood. But again, I don't want you to see that part, so I will keep building once I got to the top of it. I really have this sped up because it is a little time consuming gluing all the driftwood on there, so keep that in mind. If you had some real driftwood, I think that would be great as well. So here to, I don't know why they don't go all the way to a point with their like little foam cones like this. I just kind of fill it in until all of my pieces kind of like touch in the middle and kind of use pieces that work. I even put a small piece on top just to finish it completely off. It's so cute. It just needs a tree topper. Of course, I'm using a starfish. This is just a little starfish that I got on Amazon. It's actually like a little real one. And I just hot glue that to the top. Actually really simple to do. A little time consuming. A little driftwood Christmas tree. But I love how it turned out. It's so cute. Any kind of like a wood shaving like that is going to give you almost that driftwood feel. I kind of like the light color of this. It's very coastal looking. For our next ornament, we're going to use one of these like little fluffy white wreath ornaments from the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to kind of remove whatever they've got going on here. The jingle bell, the ribbon, the greenery, the berries. I just want to take that off, but I don't want to damage like the fluffy layer. So I just use a little heat just to kind of loosen their glue. Whatever that greenery is they use in the Dollar Tree, if you put any heat on that at all, like it just melts immediately. I was able to get everything off. And I want to give it a little coastal beachy makeover. I thought it would be a really cute, like little fluffy life preserver or buoy. And so to do that, I'm just going to use some of the Christmas ribbon. This is the light blue ribbon they have at Dollar Tree with the white snowflakes on it. I thought it would be great for a beachy inspiration, and it looks great for winter too because it's got the little snowflakes on it. And so I'm just going to go in and cut some ribbon down. I also want to have like the little ropes that go around the life preserver. So to get that, I'm just taking some Dollar Tree white rope and unwinding it into thirds so I have a skinnier piece. But you could always use the Dollar Tree like macrame cord for this too. Either one would work. And I'm just hot gluing that to the very side of my little snowy wreath there. Trying to get all of the fibers down. And then I'm going to go over that with the blue ribbon, kind of tying that down like that. It'll cover up where I glued it to the ribbon. And then I can just use the ribbon all the way around to tie it where the rope will kind of stick out the sides, forming a cute little snowy life preserver. So I glued my first one on. I'm going to need a total of 4 pieces of the blue ribbon. And I just kind of, put a little slack in the rope there so some of it hangs out, and glue my next ribbon on. Holding that on, I can kind of put a little glue in there to kind of keep the rope in place too. And we're going to do the same thing here, just kind of spacing it out, trying to work across from where we did it the first time. Gluing the ribbon to itself on the back of the ornament there so it's a little bit hidden. And our 4th ribbon here. And then I can go back with my other end of the rope and hide that under the existing ribbon to kind of finish it off by kind of putting some hot glue and tucking that right underneath the ribbon. And now it looks like a snowy little life preserver, super fun for a coastal themed Christmas tree. Once I have it all put together and how I like, I'm just kind of rearranging the rope a little bit, trying to straighten it out a little bit. It was a little curvy from being in the rope shape because of course I unwound it. And then I just need to make a hanger so that we can hang this on the Christmas tree. I'm just using something twine from the Dollar Tree, the brown and white twine, and just tying that to the rope here on the top of my ornament. And this is ready to go. So quick and easy. I love these little fluffy ornaments. I've also used these for like candle holders, the long skinny candles at Dollar Tree. They're very versatile, but I really like it as a little snowy looking life preserver, or a little fuzzy life preserver, if you will. Super cute, and I love that ribbon. It's very subtle and pretty, and it goes great with the coastal decor. Okay, the next DIY, I picked up these mittens and hat combination at the Target dollar spot for $5 because I really wanted the mittens to make winter DIYs with. So I have this stocking hat left over. It's mint green. I think it's beautiful, and I thought it would make a really fun snowman hat. So we're going to take that, one of the little fake carrots from Dollar Tree, and some microfiber duster mop pads, and we're going to make a snowman gnome. I didn't know if I could pull this off, but we're going to give it a try. Now, if you recognize that the tags are a little different on these, I actually picked these up at PopShelf for $1 instead of Dollar Tree. The only difference I noticed is they're a little bit woolier, so you can totally use ones from the Dollar Tree. They're almost exactly the same. They're definitely the same size. And then I got a wood round from the Dollar Tree. Have you guys seen that they kind of changed the hangers on these? Kind of cool. And I thought we could put it all together and just make a snowman gnome head, just the head part. So let's see if we can pull it off. I thought if we used the little microfiber mop heads, it would give that gnome look, like the fluffy beard of a gnome, right? So I'm just going to take hot glue, and I'm going to glue 1/2 of the wood round. It's pretty much a perfect fit for one of these mop heads. There's going to be a small gap where they have the rounded edges right there in the middle, but I will fill that up. And I'm not cutting them first. They are a little messy when you cut them. I thought it'd be easier just to glue it all down first. So I just make sure I use enough hot glue to secure that mop head. And when you put them side by side like that, it's pretty seamless. You can kind of fluff it all up for a cute little snowman head. Then I just flip it over, and I'm just going to use some scissors. I was trying to find my sharp scissors, and somebody had ran off with them, but I went and found them because I kind of needed them for this, because this can be a little messy. It gets, it sheds when you cut it. So I'm just cutting all 4 corners off, trying to get that round shape of the snowman head, and trying to minimize the mess with that. Now, again, I told you there was going to be a little bit of area here where the 2 pads came together. They did have rounded edges where there was going to be a little hole. So I just used hot glue and some of the leftover fuzz that I had just to fill in those 2 tiny areas. But otherwise, the rest of the head is all covered in this like snowy looking mop head. So cute. I thought that'd be perfect for a snowman. And I saw this carrot the other day at Dollar Tree in with like their fake fruit and vegetables, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need that for a snowman. So I'm going to kind of put it on there where it can kind of be sitting out a little bit, but going to one side. And I'm going to go ahead and leave the greenery on there. Then I realized that the hat was going to interfere with the hanger. And so even though I left the hanger on there, I decided I probably needed to remove it. And I'm just going to have to make a new hanger once I get the hat on there. And those hats are super stretchy, so it's definitely going to go over this big wood round. Then I thought for a snowman mouth, it'd be really cute to do like black buttons. And so I have one of those little button packages from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going through trying to find like, 5 like medium-sized black buttons. I didn't want anything too colorful. It was a little challenging, but I was able to do it. And again, it's going to be a gnome snowman, so there's not going to be any eyes, because the hat's going to cover it up like a gawk. And then I just use a tiny bit of hot glue to kind of secure those buttons down into the microfiber mop head to make our little snowman smile. And I wasn't sure, like I was trying to find if anybody else had done this, and nobody else had done it. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to pull this off, but I love how it turned out. I think it's so creative. So I'm going to leave the greenery on there. I thought I could use that to actually attach it. It's going to be hidden under the hat anyway, so you won't be able to see it. And to attach it, I just used my staple gun. And you're going through that fluff and stuff, and it worked out perfectly with that wood round, even though it's nice and thin. Now it's time to put our little stocking hat on our snowman. You could always do a more traditional snowman hat if you want, but I think a stocking hat works perfect for this. So I told you it was super stretchy, so I stretch it over, and I'm going to have it like sideways. I thought that would be cute. And then have it slightly overlap our little carrot, having the carrot kind of go off to the side. It's going to be kind of 3D, but it's still kind of going to go off to the side. And then I just hot glue the stocking hat to the carrot. I also hot glue it around the edges to kind of like, mask that in, like the eyes are covered up with a little gnome hat or stocking hat. And this DIY could not be any easier, and it just turned out super sweet. I absolutely love how it turned out. So basically, that's all there is to the snowman. I guess you could do multiple wood rounds on top of each other if you wanted to do a whole snowman body, but I just made this for a door hanging for Christmas or winter, and I think it turned out so fun. I love the gnome snowman idea. Now, since I had to get rid of my hanger, I'm going to have to make a new one. So I just tie some knots and some Dollar Tree twine, and I just staple that right through the stocking hat. That staple is going to help keep the stocking hat in place too, so kind of win-win. And that's all there is to it. There is our little snowman head. I absolutely love him. I think he is super sweet. And I love the color of that like hat and those mittens from the Target dollar spot. Super cute, but you know what? You could always use any kind of stocking hat you've got around. If it has like a ball on the top of it like that, it's really going to give it that fun, festive winter feel. But how cute is that like realistic looking carrot for the nose? Now for the next DIY, we're going to DIY these little nutcrackers from the Dollar Tree. Now they're very colorful and plastic looking, but I thought we could try to make them look a little bit more high end. I am just removing the beard and the hair from them. It was a little tricky to get the hair. They do kind of pop apart. I noticed that the hats just pop off of these, but the hair is actually like inside the whole thing, and I didn't want to take the whole thing apart, so I actually just kind of pulled it as much as I could and then kind of trimmed that to get the hair off because I want to save the hair for later, but I want them to be just plastic for now so that we can give them a coastal beachy makeover. I did have to go in there and try to pry that out because I couldn't really get it to go back in, but I just used some scissors to kind of clean that one up. We're going to do the same thing here with the second one. Now, the idea I saw like some ombre nutcrackers that were painted really fun beachy colors, and I thought we could kind of pull that off with the Dollar Tree version. So again, removed all my hair from both of them, and then we can start painting these. I'm going to use chalk paint, again, some of my DIY chalk paint that we mixed up. And I'm going to do the top part of this one with like that misty ocean bluish green color. And then I'm going to kind of alternate which top and bottom are painted, but I really want just half of it to be that color. So I just go over it with a brush. Now for the other one, I want it to be opposite. So I'm going to do the bottom of the little Dollar Tree Nutcracker in that mint green color. And I kind of went back and forth with a brush and a foam brush to try to get in all the different areas to get as good of coverage as I can get on those. But they kind of painted pretty well. I was impressed because I was going over lots of really colorful things and foil and stuff like that, but I was able to actually get good coverage here with this beautiful color. Now for the other half, I wanted to use the other color we've been using today, which was the Caribbean blue color from Target. And I decided just to try the acrylic to see if I could get good coverage with that as well, just because it painted so well. And it will require a couple coats, but it went on pretty easy. And it doesn't really matter which one you use on these. I just kind of picked two. Didn't really matter what colors they were since I was going to be painting them. And again, we're doing that same ombre effect like we did earlier. And it's going to kind of make it like, fade from one color to the next. And I did have to go over it with a second coat just to make sure that I got good coverage there on everything. And then I'm going to go ahead and paint the hats as well. Since they're already off, I thought it'd probably be easier to paint them separated. I do one blue and one green. I was kind of thinking, should I mix and match, have like my blue topped one have a green hat, and vice versa, but I ended up deciding to kind of match the top and the top, if that makes sense. But a couple of coats just to cover up all the dark colors, and these painted up nicely. Now they're super easy to reattach, but first I want to kind of blend the color. So I kind of mix the two colors together using a makeup sponge and blend where the ombre happens. So it's like a slight change in color between the two. And we're going to do the same thing here on the other one. And I'm glad that I kind of alternated the colors on them. I think that looks really fun. What do you guys think about painting these? I think it turned out really fun. It made them look a lot more stylish, I think, than all the bright colors and things that were on there before. I'm just going to rescrew my little Nutcracker hats back on, their little heads. And then now it's time we can reattach their little beard. I just do a little hot glue and glue the little beard piece right on here where it was before. And then we can also reattach the hair. They definitely look a lot different. I think they look really stylish and fun, and they're definitely going to go nicely with my beach decor. I'm just going to use hot glue to attach this. Again, it was kind of like wedged in between the cracks on the side of the head there before, but you know, hot glue will totally work to reattach it. Just trying to clean it up a little bit. They were a little straggly. And we're going to do the same thing here on the other one. Now, once I got them painted and got like all the hair attached to them, I thought we could maybe give them a little bit of a beachy touch. And again, we're going to be using those tiny starfish that I get on Amazon. And I thought we could just kind of decorate their hat by gluing one of those on it. Super simple little beachy touch. Nothing too crazy. You could also do the base in the sand if you wanted to, but I kind of liked just the color scheme. I did the starfish on the opposite sides of my hats, and this is how they turned out, our little ombre coastal Christmas nutcrackers. A fun DIY idea, super easy to pull off. Just a little bit of paint. And I love how we're using like these same color schemes today. They all really coordinate well together. Now you can also use these little reef charms from the Dollar Tree. It doesn't really matter what they have on them. You can always paint them and make them your own. They're the perfect size for an ornament. They're like made out of wood. They already have a hole in them for the ornament, so perfect. You just kind of have to cover up whatever is on there. And you can always work on the back of them too, and you're going to have like just a fresh surface. You just kind of have to get all of those pesky labels off the back. I'm going to go ahead and paint over the little welcome with like the spring bicycle on this, just to kind of hide that. Just with some ivory paint, it's going to take a couple coats to get that covered. And now we just have a plain blank ornament to work with. Now I thought we would do like a fun little like beachy scene on this one using some blues. It didn't really matter what they are. I'm going to kind of mix and match. I just wanted like different shades of blue so we can do a really simple abstract like beach scene. So just kind of doing like a wave in this color. Oh, like a row in this color, a row in this color, and just like you're looking out at the ocean, there's going to be different shades of blue, and they can always be super abstract like that. You can always kind of just go back and blend them together. I blended mine together with a baby wipe to kind of give a cool like swirl, and then you can even mix in like a little ivory to like make some little brighter areas. And I kind of wanted a horizon line, so using some of that darker blue to kind of shade that in the back to kind of separate the ocean from the sky. And I kind of want this curvy line here in front to kind of represent like the ocean lapping up against the beach. So super easy. I also do a little sanding here, kind of rough it up a little bit, kind of give the appearance of some white waves out there. And then for the beach part, I thought, hey, let's use sand. So I'm just going to use some school glue, kind of spreading that in our little beachy area. And then we can go in there with some Dollar Tree sand and cover up our beach, gluing that right on top. Whenever I try to glue down sand on a project, I always like to kind of glue it from the bottom and glue it from the top. For the top, I like to use this little spray glue from the Dollar Tree. And then it kind of makes it wet with glue again. You can kind of go back and add another layer of sand. And then I sprayed it again with that, trying to clean up any sand that's glued to the ocean part. I just want the sand to try to stay on the beach if it will. So just trying to clean that up a little bit. And then we can decorate this with some more beachy items, but it's looking super coastal so far. I like the addition of the real sand. I think that's a fun little touch for a Christmas ornament. Now to decorate it, I'm going to again use some of those little bottled seashells from the Dollar Tree. And whenever I see these, I totally stock up on them as well. I always like to have a variety of these in stock. And I like to use these little toy organizers from the Dollar Tree to sort them out. That way they're a little bit easier to get to when they're not trapped in those little glass bottles. And I'm just going to glue those, trying to make sure that I glue them directly to the wood sign, not just to the glue. And then I'm going to use one of these little glass decals from the Dollar Tree in the starfish pattern. And this is not shore living or anything. This is kind of something for Crafter Square that they have. And just laying that on my beach scene to make a large starfish, just to give it a little bit more character. I'm going to distress that slightly to make that look a little bit more coastal up here. Just distressing with ivory in one direction, kind of blending that in with a baby wipe. And then I thought I would kind of bedazzle that like little starfish a little bit to kind of make it look more 3D like my seashells. And I'm going to do that with these pretty little iridescent blue stickers. They're, what are these called? Like, I guess kind of like a bead sticker. And I like these because they're on a strand of glue, so you can kind of pull them apart wherever you need them to be, but you can attach more than one at a time. And I just do all the rays of the starfish, and the color is perfect. Super cute and beachy blue. And then I'm just going to use twine to make a hanger on mine. And it's already got the hole in there, being the little reef charm. And I'm just going to loop some twine here on top. This is the thicker twine from Walmart. You can kind of use the one from Dollar Tree if you wish. The one at Walmart's a little bit thicker, but this is how it turned out, our little beach scene. It's also got the little bedazzled starfish on there, which I think is a fun little take on it. Otherwise, you could just leave it as a beach scene if you'd like. But I like the sand and the shells on there. Super pretty, and one of my favorite coastal Christmas ornament DIYs.
And it was so easy to do. Anytime I can use sand on a coastal project, I am going to try to do it, as well as my massive seashell stash.
Now for the next DIY, I want to make an angel wings wreath. This is a heart-shaped wreath form from the Dollar Tree. They normally have these at Valentine's Day. You might have one left over, or if you're lucky, your store still have them. Mine did. So I am just cutting with wire cutters down here, all three of these pieces at the bottom. We're going to separate that, and it's going to give us perfect angel wings. Now, if you can't find the heart shape, you could always do this with two of the candy cane wreath forms put together there in the middle. And then I'm using the Dollar Tree garland. Now, I kind of went back and forth whether I wanted to flock this garland to make my angel wings white, but I really liked it green, so I'm going to leave mine green, but that is an option if you want yours to be white. I do have a white front door, though, so I think the green's going to look better. I start here at the end where it's a little sharp with those just loose wires like that, and I wrap the garland around it. It keeps its shape pretty well, so it's easy to wire it to the wire. And then I'm just going to simply wrap. Now, the fact that the wreath is cut like this makes it easier to wrap. I started with one package here, and this is going to do about half of the angel wing wreath form. And then we're also going to be using garland for the feathers for the angel wings as well. So you can see I don't have to go through. I can just wrap it around to wrap it. And so I do that until I run out of this piece. It took me a little bit past the center here, and I was wrapping pretty tightly with this.
which is great because that'll give me a little excess here from the second piece of garland that I can use to make the top of the angel wings a little bit wider. So this is my second piece. I love crafting with the Dollar Tree garland. It's so much fun, and you can do so many fun things with this. Now, I looked online for an angel wing wreath made out of garland or greenery, and you know what? I couldn't find anything. I've seen a million ways people have done angel wings wreaths, but I hadn't found anybody that had done one like this. So I thought, let's just give it a go and see how it turns out. Again, I'm just wrapping tightly until I get all the way to the end. I am going to have a little bit of excess here, which is great because I do end up using that. Just because I thought that the top of the angel wings were a little bit skinny for my liking. Again, just trying to wind it tight here as I can, using my wire cutters to cut that off. It's so fluffy, it kind of makes it retain the heart shape. So I am going to have to bend it a little bit to give it that like little angel wing look a little bit. So that is the main structure of it. Now it's time to add all of the feathers for the angel wings. And I'm going to do that with these 12-pieced garland ties. These are wired from the Dollar Tree. I ended up using 2 packages. So a total of 24. I'm going to do my first round of feathers. I end up doing 6 on each side. And I'm just kind of going between like the inside and the middle wire and twisting that to keep it on, making the feathers kind of go down to the bottom like that. And I do the same thing for that one. Now you can kind of vary how long that your feathers are, depending on which one you go in between, the inside in the middle or the outside in the middle. You can make some of them longer. And I do that there towards the bottom where I want my feathers to be a little bit longer. And these are going to be the feathers that are kind of flat against the wall. I did 5 on that side, and then I went ahead and did 5 on this side. And I did go back and end up adding the extra one to each side. So a total of 12, 6 on each side for this one. And again, just kind of feeling through with that wire, and you can just twist it there against the wreath form. It's going to keep it in place. And it's giving me the feel of feathers coming down from the wings and out to the sides, which is what I was looking for. I just did one here on this side and one here on this side at the very end. So those will be nice long feathers, and that is a good start. So I'm going to open up a second package, the same thing, another 12. And these are going to be the feathers that kind of are more 3D, that stick out more at you. So what I did was just kind of feed it in here from behind and then wrap that around to the inside edge, bending it down again so the feathers kind of go down in the direction that I want. And again, I'm just twisting it to make sure that it stays on there. I think this is going to look so cute and festive on my front door for Christmas. And I love the idea of angel wings. I have a lot of angels in my life, my mother and my father. And this makes me smile thinking about them. So I'm going to go ahead and do 6 on each side. I do want it to be nice and full. So a total of 12 on each side, so total of 24. So 2 packages of the garland originally and 2 packages of the little garland ties. Trying to make this one kind of symmetrical, following what I did on the other side, going along the inner wire, twisting those, making those come down like that. And kind of following the same paths. Now, again, I wasn't sure if I liked it in green like this. Once you get it all on here, you can kind of decide for yourself because it is really easy to flock this. You can just use some white spray paint and do some sprays on it. You don't want like full coverage, and it would give you like a snowy look on the greenery. And that might be fun for your angel wings since angel wings are usually white. And if any of them are too long, I'm just using some wire cutters just to kind of manage the length on some of them. But I only did that on a couple of them. I really kind of liked the size they are when they're in half like that. They're not super long. And then I'm just making sure everything is wired here to the end and nothing is going to fall off. I think they're kind of looking like angel wings. What do you think? I'm going to dangle down one of the angel wing ornaments down in the middle. I think that's definitely going to give it the angel wings vibe. So if you weren't sure at first they are angel wings, when you see that, you might think so. I can have it hang down in the center. And to do that, I do a little bit of twine. I go through these two pieces here and then take those two ends, pulling it through, and that makes a perfect hanger. I made sure to cut my twine long enough to do this. Then I tie another knot so it won't go too high and it will dangle down like that inside my wreath form. I take that twine and I tie it off to my wreath form, and then I tie another knot here at the top to make a hanger for my wreath. I probably could have made that a little bit longer, but I think it's going to work. And then I also want to decorate where the two angel wings come together. To do that, I'm using some of the Dollar Tree white flowers. I chose these because they didn't have hardly any glitter on them, and I thought they would be a nice neutral color. They're not super full, as you can see, but with a little ironing with my heat gun, I think we can make them work. And I really like the white color, so I am bringing in a little bit of white here for the angel wings. I did notice with these flowers, though, that they're not cut great. Most of my petals were stuck together, as you can see, and I did not like that. So I do make sure to go in and trim those all up before I go in and attach. I attached one right here in the center, right where I am hanging the angel wings. And it's like a lot of them are like, I don't know, they would look better with 5 petals, but they had 4. But I'm going to group them all together, so I think it'll be okay. But I did have to cut the petals apart on every single one of these. I just put a little hot glue here on the stem that's left over after I had pulled them off the greenery. And glue that down into the garland. I do 3 in like an arch shape like that. And then I'm going to go through with the other 2 here on top, kind of offsetting those a little bit. And you're going to need something there where the angel wings come together. You could also do a bow if you wanted to. Since I did the flowers, I chose not to do any kind of bow here, but you could. It'd be a really cute place for a beautiful bow. But the angel wing ornaments hanging inside, I think, is a really great touch. Once I have them attached, I iron all of my leaves with my heat gun. This works great for the bent leaves on the Dollar Tree flowers. And it's going to make them look so much better. I'm also going to add some of these large berries from the Christmas aisle at the Dollar Tree. They're white glittery. They kind of remind me of snowballs almost. Just to add a little bit more fun up here, but again, really neutral with the white. They are wired together like 2 at a time, but the fact that they're on wires is perfect for this because I can kind of feed it through my wreath like that and wire it to the frame so they will stay put. I'm just going to kind of scatter those around. Anywhere around the flowers where the greenery might show through, just to add a little bit of more sparkle and fun. So I do like 1 here in the center and trying to see maybe 1 more right here and 1 here. Just trying to keep it symmetrical if I can. But I'm really loving how this turned out. I think it's so cute. I think that looks pretty good. Now, I did notice that there was a little bit of hole here in the flower, and I did have 1 flower left. This one did have a stained petal, though, so I just made it work just by actually removing that petal. I'm just going ahead and cut all my petals apart. That is the offending one. That's the reason why I didn't use it. And I glued that right here in the middle, and you can't even tell. I think that looks really good. I did think that the top of the angel wings could be a little wider when I was looking at the ornament for the shape of the angel wing. So I did have some garland left over. So I'm actually going to do 3 rows connecting this top part here of the heart to make it wider here in the opening. So I did 1 and then I'm doing another one right next to it. And that's just going to make that part of the angel wing wider. I think it made it have the right shape a little bit better. This one, I just cut off like a longer piece. I fed it through like the middle of my wreath form here and did the second row like that, going to the top of the heart. And I did have a little bit of greenery left over there, so I do go in and do a 3rd row just to beef that up a little bit, because the top of the heart was the heart shape, you know, and I want it to be this distinctive angel wing shape. So you can use the ornament for reference a little bit there to help you shape it. Isn't this so pretty? I love it. An angel wing wreath is perfect, I think, for Christmas, and I cannot wait to hang this on my front door. Let me give you a little look of how it turned out. I love that Dollar Tree ornament. It's really cute. I've crafted with that before, but I think I definitely got like the angel wing shapes, and they're wired, so you can kind of curve them like that at the bottom, kind of like the angel wing ornament that's on there. Isn't that fun? I love it.
Now for the next DIY, check out this great nativity set I found at Goodwill. Now, it was an old nativity set, and I don't know what kind of glue they used to attach these characters from the birth of baby Jesus, but they were not going to come off no matter what I did. So we'll just leave them on there. This did have fabric on the back of it, but I kind of wanted that to be off because I wanted to paint everything, remake this really old nativity set that I got at Goodwill for just a couple of dollars, and make it coastal Christmas vibe. So I'm going to go in and try to pop off the back of it. That was a little bit easier to do. That way, all the back of it's open. That way I can get to all the characters inside, and we can paint everything since I can't remove them. So whoever built this originally, good job, because this thing is like indestructible. I think it's going to last until the end of time. But I have the structure that I want. I don't want to get the paint that I'm going to use on all of the little people inside on the frame of it. And since I can't remove it, I'm just going to use a little bit of painter's tape to, protect that surface. So I go around like all the poles and stuff like that. I don't care if I get paint on the bottom of it though, because I do have a plan to cover that with sand. I think that'll look beachy and fun. Now, again, I'm mixing my own DIY chalk paint by mixing that misty ocean color we've been using today with calcium carbonate and water to do a DIY chalk paint. And we're going to go over baby Jesus. We have all of the great little farm animals here, and just go in with a brush and paint them the best that I can since I can't remove them. It wasn't ideal. I thought I would be able to, pop those off, paint them, and glue them back in. But you know what? This is probably a time saver because I didn't have to go through all those steps. And I was able to paint them. The only thing that came out separately was that baby Jesus was zip tied. So I was able to take him out. I will glue him back in there though, because I want to make sure that I don't lose him. But I do understand why he does come separate like that. And I just kind of go in. Now that I have the back of it open, I can paint the back of everyone as well and make them that beautiful beachy blue color. I really love how this turned out. At first, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to pull it off to make this look coastal Christmas, but it actually turned out just beautiful. And it's one of my favorite coastal Christmas decorating pieces. So I did go over it with a second coat to make sure I covered all the bright colors on everyone involved. And then I'm just going to go in and remove the painter's tape that we had on there to protect the wood. I am going to distress that wood too to kind of make it look beachy. Now to do that, I'm just going to use a couple different colors of brown. I kind of want to give it a driftwood look. And I'm thinking this is cashew colored, and I had like a dark tan color. Can't remember the name of this one. And I'm just kind of mixing those, going back and forth to kind of give it that driftwood vibe. Another good color to use for driftwood, if you're going to distress wood like this, is mixing the Antique Wax by Waverly with like an ivory. It's going to give you a great driftwood color too. But I think this worked. I'm going to go ahead and distress like the poles and the roof and everything, trying to avoid getting any of that on our little blue people in there. And again, I know the bottom of it kind of looks like a hot mess, but we're going to make it beachy and fun because my plan is to cover that with sand.
So to start out, I just glued baby Jesus in the manger, and then we are like going in here with a paintbrush and just regular school glue. I'm going all over the bottom everywhere I can get to, so that I can glue Dollar Tree sand to the bottom of it to make it look nice and beachy. So that worked out with not being able to remove them, and I didn't have to be too careful with painting them to avoid getting it on the bottom because we're just going to glue. The sand, I'm using the tan sand from Dollar Tree, and I just do a nice layer all over. Whenever I do sand, I like to use the spray adhesive glue from the Dollar Tree too to glue that on top. So it's glued from the bottom and glued from the top. I'm also, you can kind of still see the original wood there on the front. So I touched that up with some lighter colors as well to kind of go with the driftwood vibe. And it does take a few minutes, for the sand to set up and dry in there, but it worked great for the bottom. Now for the top, for the star, I thought we would use a starfish. Nothing more coastal than that. And again, I'm just using a starfish that I got on Amazon, but you could totally use the ones from Dollar Tree. They're about the same size. And that's how it turned out. My little nativity set, coastal Christmas thrift flip. I think it looks so stylish. It looks great with my coastal decor. What do you guys think about my little thrift flip here? I think it looks really beachy. If you wanted to take it up a notch, you could add some seashells, but
I really just kind of like the simplicity of it, and I love the color scheme. Now for the next one, I'm going to use a Halloween ornament. I picked these up at the end of Halloween because they were already kind of blue, so I thought these would make a good like fishing float, like a glass float look without having to dye it. Now, I wanted a smaller fishing net, and a lot of you guys have recommended these rug liners, so I thought I would give it a go. I had actually picked up a market pantry bag for this, and I have no idea what I did with it, so I'm trying to use the rug liner to see what that would look like. And not really a fan. So I think I'm going to DIY my own fishing net to go on the outside of my fishing float because I just didn't think this looked very much like a fishing net in this application, and I would have all that excess material that I would have to kind of deal with as well. So I thought it would just be easier to make my own. So I'm just going to use the white twine from the hardware section at Dollar Tree, pop off the top of my ornament, and just kind of make our own little fishing net. So it's a little time consuming, but I will take you through the steps that it takes to do this. And it's going to give you a net that's going to be the perfect size for your ornament. So there was kind of a line around mine, so I kind of went with that so I could kind of hide it. And I'm going to glue it right here under where the ornament hanger is. And then wrap it around. I glued it to the bottom there, and then gluing it to the top on the other side where it just went all the way around, but not where the ornament hanger is, if that makes sense. And then I'm just going to have to keep going through and doing rows. I just kind of keep repeating the same pattern by gluing it here at the top, pulling it around the bottom. At first I thought that was the center because that's where there was a little dot, but then I realized the center, that was not the center. So I'm going to kind of move mine over, overlap it at the true center here on the bottom of my ornament. Now, if you can't find these, again, these were Halloween ornaments. It's pretty easy to kind of dye these to kind of get your own look. You can dye plastic with clothing dye if you want to get a colored ornament like this. Or you could even take like a little bit of food coloring, glue, and water and thin it out, put it inside your clear plastic ornament, and, kind of let the excess fall out. Drying that, and the dye and the glue is going to kind of give you a similar like stained vibe to make your own colored little globe like this. So I just keep repeating that all the way around until I get pretty good coverage. And now it is the cross weave, I guess, of the fishing net. And I'm only going to do a couple of rows, and I do that by kind of feeding it underneath the twine so that I can tie it into a knot. And that's going to kind of be my starting piece. Now, I put a little hot glue on the end of my twine. It's going to make it easier to thread that through each one of these twine pieces, kind of making it into like a needle kind of point. and tying that on to the row next to it, trying to keep it as taut as I can. And we're just going to keep doing that until we go all the way around the little fishing float. The toughest part was probably just trying to get it underneath the twine. I had my twine on there fairly tight, but if you kind of move it back and forth, you can kind of find a little weak spot to be able to feed it through, and then just tying it to itself, forming that knot. The knot is kind of key to kind of get that fishing net feel. I found that even though it was a little tricky to get the line in there, it was easier to do it now because while it was attached than to make the net and attach it later, because again, we're going over the globe shape, so it's not like a perfect linear surface. And we're going to keep doing that until we go all the way around. I'm going to knot it to the same place that we started the knot, and then I can go down and do a second row. I decided 2 rows was enough to kind of make the fishing net pattern on it, and it actually did turn out super cute. Just a little bit time consuming. And I love doing the fishing net with the Market Pantry bags. Sometimes I can find them at Dollar Tree, but they're white and pink, and I haven't found any in a long time, but I did find one recently at Five Below, but I have no idea where I put it. I've been in the middle of turning my guest room into my craft supply room, and I'm trying to get super organized. A lot of you guys have mentioned that you would like me to make that into a video, so I am currently working on that to give you guys some ideas to try to get your craft stashes under control. So you'll have to let me know in the comments below if you would enjoy that video. This is that second row that we're doing, and again, just feeding it under, tying it off, and I started at the same place I stopped. That way it can kind of be the back of my ornament that kind of has the extra knots on it, but it doesn't really matter. Knots are part of like the fishing net pattern. And even though it was a little time consuming to do, I think this turned out really cute. I think it does look kind of like a glass fishing float, which was the look I was going for. I don't have anything like this on my coastal Christmas tree right now. And it's not real glass. Again, it's just plastic, but it definitely has the appearance of a blue glass. And you can kind of move these up and down until it's nice and tight, however it's going to look the best. And then I am going to reattach this. I kind of had to hot glue it on to get it to reattach. It was kind of on there, kind of weird. And so cute. Now it just needs a hanger because it's just got like the metal hanger there at the top. So I decided to switch it up and use the brown twine for this part just to give a little variety and just tie a knot there on the top. And there it is, our little glass fishing float Dollar Tree DIY ornament. Look how pretty that looks. You would never know that was a Halloween ornament, right? It totally gives me like a blue, like iridescent vibe, which I think is kind of cool. I think it's going to look really good combined with like my Christmas lights.
For the next DIY, I picked up a Dollar Tree jar. This is kind of the medium-sized one they have with the metal lids. And I'm going to add Epsom salt all over the outside of it to make it look snowy. So I'm going to put down a Dollar Tree tray because this is going to get messy. Make sure I remove my label from the bottom. And what I'm going to do is attach the Epsom salt to the outside with just some Mod Podge. I'm going to use one of the stencil dauber sponges from the Dollar Tree. I like using that because I'm not going to get any brush strokes or anything. And the Mod Podge will dry clear. You could also use school glue for this. It works well with Epsom salt. But the Epsom salt is kind of clear from the Dollar Tree, but when you attach it with the glue, it does turn white and it really gives you the look of snow. So I did about half of the jar with Mod Podge, and then I'm just sprinkling the Epsom salt all over. Now I wanted to reinforce that with some spray glue, which I do, but if you don't have any, you're going to be okay because this is from Dollar Tree, but I know it's hard to find. I've been having a hard time finding this lately at Dollar Tree. But I just sprayed it with glue just to make it stronger. But I really think that the Mod Podge would probably keep it on there too. And I want to go over the entire jar except for like the area where you would screw on the lid. And I'm going to be making a fun lantern with this using a Dollar Tree push light. You could also use a battery operated candle or even a real candle in here, I think. And again, I just do half of it with Mod Podge, sprinkling with the Epsom salt. I picked up so much of that Epsom salt from Dollar Tree this year for winter decor because I love using it for crafting.
And I don't think I knew that Dollar Tree carried Epsom salt, actually. I spray it with some more glue to make sure it is well glued on there. I'm not going to put any on the bottom. I don't need any on there. And I'm going to set that aside where that can start drying. Now, this is the light I'm using. The reason I'm using a Dollar Tree push light is because it's going to be super bright. And that's what I wanted for this. So I'm going to pop in 3 AAA batteries, I believe. And I'll be able to put that in the jar where I can turn it on and off. Now to decorate it some more, I want to decorate where the jar lid comes on there to kind of cover that part up. I'm going to use some of the Dollar Tree greenery, the garland again. And this is going to make it look festive and provide a little bit of color. Now, if you wanted to use this little Christmas lantern outside, you totally could. But you're going to have to probably screw the lid back on it, which even with the greenery, I think you probably would be able to do that just so no water or anything gets inside of it. And they're pretty heavy duty, so I think this would work outside as well. I tried to flock mine with some spray snow that I got at Walmart, but you know what? I kind of like painting it better because it just seems to fall off when you do it. Again, I'm using some of the snowy berries from the Dollar Tree. They're my favorite. And I'm going to do 3 of the bunches of 3, leaving them together this time. And again, they're wired, so I can just wire them around the garland. I'm going to spread them out maybe a third of this. And use this to make kind of a collar that goes over the top of the Christmas light. Since I'm not using a real candle, I don't have to worry about anything being flammable or anything like that. I'm just going to wrap that around where the lid's screwed on. And I don't have any of the Epsom salt, and wire it to each other. Trying to get it as tight as I can so it will stay in place. This was such an easy DIY to do. And again, I don't really want the lid because I'm going to use mine indoors. But you could put the lid back on there if you wanted to use yours outdoors. Super bright with that push light in there. And I noticed that some of the flocking did come off with just handling it, right? So I just used some white acrylic paint and a brush and kind of flock it the way I like to flock it a little. And then, this garland can be a little wild, so I gave it a quick trim as well. But otherwise, very wintry and cute. So festive with the green and red for Christmas. If you wanted it just to be for winter, it would be really cute too if you just left it more of a white color scheme. But this is what it looks like lit up with that bright push light inside. And I think a candle would be pretty too, because if you could get a candle in there, like the flicker might be really pretty. But I was going for like snowy white. I wanted just that bright white color. So this is what it looks like lit up with the lights down low. And I think this was really fun. It was so easy to do. And again, another last minute Christmas DIY that you could just put just about anywhere. I think I'm going to put this in my bathroom. I think that'd be really pretty in there. What do you guys think?
Next up is a tier tray, and the theme for this one is Christmas Vacation, the movie. Definitely our favorite Christmas movie around here.
I'm doing that 2-tier tray. For the very top of it, I wanted to make the iconic moose mug. I thought I could probably make it by using one of these little MDF wood reindeers from Dollar Tree. Now, they have antlers, so I thought that'd be perfect for the little moose mug. And so it's just a matter of removing those. So I just pop it off, trying to use a little bit of heat. And these are the little cake decorators from the Dollar Tree. I like to use those in crafting. And it doesn't matter how much I kind of destroy them because they're from the Dollar Tree. And I am just using heat trying to pop off our second antler. Now, to make like the moose mug part, it's not shaped exactly like the reindeer head, but we're going to kind of make it. I flipped mine over upside down, and then just using a cutter, I am just cutting off the little ears there. And then I'm going to cut the top of it to kind of make it look like the top of a cup. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on custom stuff like this for your decor. You can always kind of customize these items from the Dollar Tree and kind of make them your own. This did have a little reindeer nose on it as well. And so I did go ahead and try to pop that off as well, just to kind of get rid of it. That is going to be my back because it's kind of ugly back there with the glue and stuff like that. But we're actually going to make a sign on it too. I thought it didn't really look like a cup that much. It still needed a little bit of shaping. So I just sketched out just to help me know exactly where to cut. And then just cutting a couple of times with my box cutter, I can kind of just mold that out where we have like the bottom of like a fancy like bar glass or something like that. And I thought that looked pretty cool. We're going to combine that with the reindeer antlers, but this time we're going to try to make them look like moose antlers. I filled in the hole for the hanger on both of mine with a little bit of hot glue to fill that in, because this is going to be a sign for our tier tray, and we're not going to need to hang it. And then I'm going to mix up my own chalk paint. I do that with some calcium carbonate, water, and just regular acrylic paint. I'll try to remember to post the link to the recipe below. It's super easy. And I get that calcium carbonate on Amazon as well. And it's way cheaper to mix your own chalk paint, I think. And I'm just going to go over the MDF sign, all 3 pieces, with that ivory chalk paint. I kind of wanted to use a chalk paint because I thought I'd have a little bit better coverage going over that dark surface, but it is definitely going to require a couple of coats of that ivory. And I thought that'd be a really cute like moose mug that we can put on the top, the front of our tier tray, and we can personalize it and kind of make it into a Christmas vacation sign. So if you put the 3 pieces together like that, you can kind of see the look that I was going for of a moose cup. It's not going to have a face or anything like that. It's just going to kind of be a silhouette. And we're going to attach the little antlers to the back of the cup with some hot glue. And then I said I thought it would be easier to kind of make it into a sign than try to put a face on it. So I'm going to use vinyl again. This is another SVG file that I've designed for you guys that you can use for your cutting machines. And I just used black vinyl. And I'm going to make this say, "Can I refill your eggnog?" Another line from Christmas Vacation. A nice skinny font, but I kind of like this font. It's kind of decorative. And we're just going to weed that out. Use our paper transfer paper again and just put that on our little tier tray sign. Super cute, and it totally gives me the feel of Christmas Vacation. I'm going to seal my vinyl down by going over the top of it with a coat of matte Mod Podge, and then I also kind of distress mine ever so lightly with a little bit of gray, just to give it a little bit of distressing. Super cute, and I just leaned it against the pole on the very top of my tier tray to get this started, and it looks great with my Christmas tree farm sign and the other things that I've painted ivory. Now, the next item I found at Dollar Tree really reminded me of something that the Griswolds would have. It's a bright green glittery Christmas tree candle holder, and I'm just going to pop in a Dollar Tree candle, and I don't have to do anything to this. It's nice and tall, so I can put it here in the back. It's going to light up, you're going to be able to see it, and it looks very Griswold. Now, the next item I also found from the Dollar Tree is a bright red Nutcracker. I think this looks very traditional Christmas. I got this at Dollar Tree too, and it looks like something that the Griswolds would definitely have in their Christmas decorations. So we're going to stand him up back here on the other side. He's nice and tall too. Now for the next sign, I'm just using one of these little hexagon, I guess, signs from the Dollar Tree. Just a chunky red sign. I thought this was a really good sign for a tier tray. And we're painting that with that bright candy apple red. I'm just using a makeup sponge so I don't make too much of a mess. And I'm also going to paint the sides of this. I just wanted to do a little custom Griswold sign so we can do another line from the movie. And this is another SVG file that I've designed for you guys. And we're just going to cut this out on white vinyl. Mine says, "Hallelujah, Holy S, where's the Tylenol?" And again, you could always censor yours if you wanted to. I'm going to weed out the middle of my letters. And again, this is another Cricut file that will be on my Google Drive. I'm just going to share the link to the drive. You guys can go through it, pick out whatever you want. You can print all of it. You can cut all of it. You can do whatever you want with it. Totally a benefit of watching this channel. And we're just going to use the paper transfer paper. We're going to put that white vinyl on the red sign that we painted. And the funny thing is I'm going to pair this with some actual Tylenol. I thought that would be really funny for our little Christmas vacation theme. Just kind of touching up a couple of the dots. Sometimes it's easy to lose those when you're transferring the vinyl. And I'm going to seal the vinyl on this one down as well with a little bit more Mod Podge. And then I'm going to distress it ever so lightly with a dry brush of ivory to kind of make it go with the Rustic 5. And here is the Tylenol. I bought a Tylenol Extra Strength, bright red. Perfect decoration for this tier tray. And to make sure that you can see it, I just took a little Dollar Tree, actually I think that's a Five Below Jenga block that I had, and I just painted it green so I could kind of raise it up. So Hallelujah is going to go over here on the top of our tier tray, our green block, and our Tylenol. I love using real stuff like that for a tier tray. The next item I have is just a little mini wreath that I got at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to kind of lay that in here just for a tiny Christmas decoration right in front on the tier tray. Then we're just going to use some more of that greenery, the garland from Dollar Tree, and I just cut small pieces that I can kind of, wind around all over and fill it all in with a little garland. And the top of this tier tray is complete. Now we're going to go and decorate the bottom. The first item I have is one of the cheapo plants from Target. They're $5. This one's got berries in it. Looks very festive for the holidays. They do come in plain white plastic pots. I actually got this on sale. It was even cheaper than $5. They do go on sale. And I'm just using some Dollar Tree red burlap ribbon. And I'm just going to string that all the way around the pot just to bring it a little bit more Christmas cheer. And kind of glue that to itself there on the back. Super easy and festive, and I always kind of like to have a plant on my tier tray. It gives it a whole new element. We're going to put this one right here in the back. Now, for the next DIY, I thought this Christmas ornament definitely looked like something that the Griswolds would have. It's from Dollar Tree, a little red Santa ornament that says ho, ho, ho. I'm just going to make mine into a sign by taking a couple of those little Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree, gluing those together and gluing that to the back of the ornament. And ornaments are great for decorating tier trays. This looks really festive, definitely Griswold-like. And we're going to do that right back here in the back. It's nice and tall, and it'll fill up that space nicely. And the next item is just a bottle brush tree that I picked up at Dollar Tree. It is just green with a little bit of snow on it. And I think it's good as is. It's going to be perfect for a Christmas-themed tier tray. And, there's a lot of Christmas trees in the Christmas Vacation movie. The next one is a bottle brush tree that I got at Target Dollar Spot. This one's more of a lighter green. Again, it's got like some snow on it. But I thought that would be really cute. It's a little bit prettier, so we're going to put that one here in front. Now, to continue on with our little Christmas Vacation tier tray, I found like this little classic Santa for like 99 cents at Goodwill. I think he was a salt shaker, and I just found him. But he looks really traditional Santa, so I thought that'd be really cute with a Christmas Vacation theme, a big Santa Claus for the tier tray. For the next DIY, I just took a little Target Dollar Spot sign. It can be anything. This is a Thanksgiving one. I just needed a tiny sign, and I painted it ivory. And then I did that to kind of cover up the white words on the blue paint, mix my own custom bright green chalk paint, again using some calcium carbonate to make a little green sign, trying to stick with that traditional red and green Christmas colors. I think that's very Griswold for this sign. And then I'm just going to start by painting just the sides. And we're going to do another little custom Christmas Vacation sign. I'm not having any luck with those paintbrushes today.
And again, I'm using white vinyl. This is another SVG file that I've designed for you, and it screams squirrel with some exclamation points. I kind of curved it for fun, and we're just going to kind of put that in the corner of our little sign that we painted green. And then I was able to find a little tiny squirrel that we can put in front of it as well. I found some like little squirrel salt and pepper shakers at Dollar Tree, and I thought that would be perfect. So I just give it a light distress with ivory on my little squirrel sign, and then we can kind of display them together. It's kind of updating my paint there. I got a little carried away. These are the little squirrel salt and pepper shakers. Are these not adorable? And I'm just going to use one because I just want there to be one squirrel. So I'm just going to pick one and display that because we definitely have to have a little squirrel there on our tier tray, but the little sign behind it will make it yell squirrel. And it was having a little trouble standing up on its own because it was very lightweight. I'm just going to fix that with a little Dollar Tree Jenga block, and we're going to put this right here in front. So cute. Squirrel! Now, the next DIY, I'm taking two Dollar Tree signs. One is the arrow sign, and one is the heart sign. It can be whatever sign. I just wanted something that would stand up that I could hold an arrow because I want to pair these together to make a sign for Cousin Eddie's RV. So I just cut those down with my saw into the shape that I wanted, making the arrow short, cutting the frame off, just leaving enough frame on there to make it do what I wanted it to do, which was to hold the sign. We're going to make another little sign, so I'm painting it that candy apple red, and then we can go on there with some vinyl to put some words because I want to use this to kind of describe Cousin Eddie's RV. So a little custom Christmas vacation project. I'm also going over the stand in that candy apple red too. And it's not really, it's just kind of a sign. I thought it'd be fun to do the arrow too because I wanted to actually be pointing at Cousin Eddie's RV. So this is another SVG file that I've designed for you. It says, "That's an RV." And just a line that Cousin Eddie likes to use to describe his RV that he was so proud of. And I do that on white vinyl, just using my paper transfer paper and making sure the paint on this is dry. The bright red color is going to look great with our Christmas decor, and it's just a really cute little tier tray sign. I'm going to seal my vinyl on again, and then kind of go in and give it a light dry brushing with ivory to kind of make it look a little bit weathered like everything else that I make. I've had people come on my channel and be like, "I don't like the distressing," and then I'm like, nobody says that you have to distress yours. I like mine distressed. But I put this over in the corner, and for Cousin Eddie's RV, I found this little wood block. It's kind of got like the shape of an RV, right? I just pulled the little wood block off on the top that was on there. And this is just a wood toy from Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. And we're just going to paint ours ivory. I don't do the two colors like the ivory and the blue, but you totally could if you wanted to. I was just kind of going for an old, dirty RV. So I'm going to distress mine. And of course, I'm going to distress mine with green, just to kind of make it kind of go with some of the other DIYs we've done. And we did a red sign for this to kind of keep the red and green theme. But you can kind of distress yours however you'd like. You could also do the blue and white if you wanted. I just kind of wanted to make it look dirty. Then for the tires, I'm just using a black paint pen, and we're just going to simply paint each one of the tires black. I'm not going to go in and do any like details or anything on this. I just wanted a little basic dirty RV shape that we can display with that. That's an RV sign. And I found that the paint pen was definitely the easiest way to paint those without having to detach them. And then, of course, I distressed them with a little bit of ivory, and we put that right next to, that's an RV sign. Just kind of rearranging things. I think I have room for one more thing, and we're going to make our Jelly of the Month Club. So I just took a jar of jelly that I already had. This stuff's delicious if you haven't tried it, the Skinny Girl Jelly.
And then I made a printable Jelly of the Month club. And I don't know if I put this in my Google Drive. I'm going to have to try to find this one and put this in my Google Drive as well. I think I still have the free printable for this. I just printed it out on cardstock and glued it onto the front of my jelly jar to cover up where the label used to be on mine. So now it looks like a little custom jelly. And using a jar of jelly is great because you can always still eat it when the holidays are over. So a little decorative piece that's also food. So Jelly of the Month, I just sealed the whole thing with some matte Mod Podge a couple of times to make sure that our label is going to stay on. And then I don't really want you to be able to read the Skinny Girl on top. So I decided to paint that too. I'm just using that candy apple red and painting the lid of it red. And this is our little Jelly of the Month. We definitely had to have that if we were going to do a Christmas vacation themed tier tray. Super cute, super easy. And I think it should go right here in the front of our tier tray. And then to fill in any of the areas that need stuff, I'm just going to cut up some more of that Dollar Tree garland. Kind of scatter that all over. Anywhere where it kind of just needs a little something to make it look super festive for Christmas.
And that's it. Let me show you how this adorable little Christmas vacation themed tier tray turned out. Definitely one of my favorites. So many fun moments from the movie.
I really hope you enjoyed these 30 Christmas Dollar Tree DIYs. Let me know which DIYs were your favorite down in the comments below, or just come say hello. This is a QR code that if you scan it with your camera, will take you to the link if you'd like to buy me a coffee this Christmas. And you can find me at Crafty Beach on YouTube on all social media.
Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town. Watch out for reindeers are falling down. We stay up waiting for Santa tonight. He climbs down the chimney at the speed of light, while we're dancing around the Christmas tree, hugging and kissing just you and me. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Oh, a Merry Christmas Day. Oh, we're chasing snowflakes as they're falling down, and follow Rudolph all across the town. Later we meet under the mistletoe, while Santa's busy saying ho ho ho. We're feeling jolly, eating Christmas cake, and then we go skating on the frozen lake, saying hi to every friendly face, and later we warm up by the fireplace. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. a Merry Christmas Day. Dancing around the Christmas tree, wishing all a Merry Christmas. Dancing around the Christmas tree, wishing all a Merry Christmas. Dancing around the Christmas tree, wishing all a Merry Christmas Day.
First flake of snow is set to fall today. It comes to say that Christmas is on its merry way. And for every single child, there's a gift on Santa's sleigh. The first flake of snow is said to fall today. The first snow this winter is promised for this day.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's Christmas crafting marathon. I also want to give a huge thank you to my YouTube members for supporting my channel. Thank you to Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Marin Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Red Mama, Pal Puppy Life, Renee Albanese, Jenny, Debbie Austin, James Osborne, and Lizette Thomas. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. If you would like to join the membership too, just click join next to today's video on your phone or your computer, and you're going to get early ad-free access to my content here on YouTube. Would you like even more Christmas crafting inspiration? Be sure to check out one of these Dollar Tree DIY videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting for Christmas.